we can get that to start. At least, oh, I just found another one. Are we officially at 2 yet? Did we get our bing that we are live at 2?
We're live.
All right. So, hi everybody. Cheryl Fisher here and Jim Hansen behind the camera again. So we are both educators here at Cedar Run, and we thank you for joining us again on a lovely Saturday afternoon. So today is the end of Pollinator Week, not just here at Cedar Run, but it's a national type of celebratory week. There's always a week going on. I'll do some research to find out what kind of week is going on next week. But Erin and Rachel were doing trees this week, and I found this to kind of go along with their theme as well. Because without our pollinators, or without flowers and the pollinators, we wouldn't have fruits and seeds and new trees and plants. So my dogs were so kind to knock down some flowers for me today. And we have some flowers here on the property that are in bloom. And we have some offspring of some trees as well. But as some of you guys might know, if you kind of pan around, Jim, you can see these low bushes. And these low bushes are fruit-bearing bushes. Does anybody know what those bushes are? I don't know if anything's going to come through. Sometimes we see some comments and sometimes we don't. But all of these bushes are blueberry bushes. So anything that's kind of lower than waist high that you see is most likely a blueberry bush. And you're pointing at it. But you can see some scrub oak out there too. There's definitely some sweet pepper bush, lots of different plants out here. Really interesting to investigate. And we have, let's say, 3 different types of blueberry bushes out here. We have low bush blueberry, high bush blueberry, and huckleberry. They are very similar. It really is just the height that they get, and you can tell them apart a little bit by the fruit. And you can tell them apart a little bit by the shape of their leaves. I know Rachel had touched on that a little bit earlier in the week, but what we're going to focus on today is the flower anatomy to learn how we do get these fruits and how plants do reproduce to make new trees, so to say. So this is from, this I just found on the ground. It's actually holding my paper down, but this is a fruit from a pitch pine. So I know it's a pitch pine because the fruit grows straight out from the branch, and each one of these scales holds 2 seeds. So inside, maybe this one is going to, it's open, so maybe something, they're spiny. Each scale holds 2 seeds. And here, oh, hello. Thank you for joining us. So inside it'll have 2 seeds. This one looks like the seeds have come out. And that's a lot of seeds, and it provides a lot of food for the animals of the forest here. But what we're going to look at are some bigger flowers. And we're going to look at the reproductive parts of the flowers to understand how we get to the cone, so to say, or how we get to a fruit. I love how stuff's falling out of the trees today. So you can see the stigma is a sticky part that receives pollen during fertilization, and then when the pollen sticks there, it'll end up traveling down the style, and it goes into the ovary, the female part of the flower, and these are the eggs in the ovary called ovules when they're fertilized by the pollen. Now, there's also the anatomy. The stem is called the peduncle, and some other people say it's peduncle, or there's many different sayings. So this is the stem that holds the offspring. So they'll grow and they grow into the fruit. Now the flower petals are what really draws those pollinators in, And here are the male portions, okay? This is the filament, and then the anther holds the pollen. Now around here in the pinelands, we experience a lot of pollen. And right under my feet, we have a lot of these old reproductive organs from the tree, and these are what hold the pollen, or what creates the pollen for all these pine trees. And now that they're all used up, they fall off, and now the fruits can grow. It does take about 2 years for a pine cone to turn into a pine cone. So that's a long time. I think that's a long time. And they all started like this. So the pollen was received, it traveled down the style, it met the egg and the ovary, and then it became bigger. So here we have the petals. These are the petals. And the anther and the filament together are called the stamen. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull apart some of these flowers that are a little bit bigger for us to see. We're going to see some of the blueberry flowers as well, and we have some mature blueberries. So let's see what we can find. So here we have many different parts on this one. So going back to our anatomy lesson, this is the stigma right here. So this is what the sticky part is that's going to receive the pollen. Now, not all plants are self-pollinators. There is a pollinator in there. So you can see there's something in there. And what happens is the animals travel in there, which is really important to appreciate the insects, because the pollen will stick to them. They travel from one plant to another, and as they walk across, they end up bringing some pollen to that stigma. And then it can travel down. All of these are little anthers. I'm not sure if you can see them. They are on top of the filament. There's a little guy in there. I don't know who's in there. Of course, these are the petals.
What kind of plant is that from?
Oh, yes. So this is from the prickly pear cactus. It is in full bloom in the pinelands right now. And what happens is it generates its fruit down here. So these on the underside are called the sepals. And those are the protectors of the petals before it opens. So it's a little more tough. And let's see what we can find. Can we find what is going on underneath? So all this direction here is part of the pistil, which is the female part. The eggs will be housed underneath in this area. I hate to pull apart a cactus because I learned my lesson a little bit earlier. So while I want to go looking for the ovary, I don't. I'm gonna look for it. I'm gonna use it on a different flower. So not all plants have male and female parts. Some are just male and some are just female. So here we have what we want to say are petals, but actually the outermost are sepals. And I'm pulling them away. Yes, my dogs broke this. And now we've gotten to the petals, so you can kind of see how there's a little bit. These are sepals. And then you can see there's a little bit of a difference. Ooh, I think we got to a part. What is that? Put those over there. Now here you can see lilies make a wonderful anatomy lesson because they are large. And these are the male parts. So this is the anther. Okay, so this is the filament and the anther, and together they're the stamen. And on this black portion here, it'll actually have pollen. And the pollen will stick to this portion here on another plant. Like I said, not all plants reproduce, they do have to share their pollen with another plant. And here, it's going to stick to the top. It's going to travel all the way down into the style. I can pluck that style too. But maybe if I pull it apart, we can see the inside. So we're going to go all the way in. Oh, there it is. There's that ovary. Okay, so even inside, I'm going to take this whole female reproductive system apart. Oh, and I just took her piece off. And this is where the eggs will be developed. Okay, so this is where you find, oh, come back. It will grow seeds. So this part here will become fertilized. The pollen will travel down here, fertilize the eggs, and then they will become seeds. So sometimes you find those seed pods. And I think I have some things biting me back from the cactus on my hands. And because it's not mature and it's not fertilized, we don't have a very big seed pod yet. So that's the female part together. The pollen has to travel all the way down that tube to fertilize it. It also needs to be open. It wasn't open yet. And the pollen here from our male portion, so there we go. We got our male portion. We got our female portion. This is her. There's, and there's a petal. Here's a sepal. So the outermost are sepals. And we had a stem. So, and there's the stem there. So it's kind of easy to see. And this one, also broken by my dogs. So you're welcome. You can see that these are the sepals here, the protectors before it grows. This is from zucchini. So these are the petals. I figured it was bigger so you guys would get to see. Oh my goodness, look at all of that. If you guys could see what I see, there's a lot going on inside of this one because this is the male flower. So these guys, hi ants. So these guys have separate organs. So the female flowers tend to be closer to the root, to the base of the plant, and the male flowers tend to be higher. So this one is a male flower. You see all that pollen. You can kind of see all that pollen right there. Let's see. Ooh. And it's all over here. So those ants become pollinators. They help this pollen get to that female part. Pick this one on purpose because of course, I want to keep my females. I want my females to be my fruit. And this is all male right here. And that is, you can see the pollen coming off. And then that'll help fertilize the egg to give me a zucchini. And as it opens up, you can see bugs will stick to it. Look at all that pollen there. It's a lot. So let's go see if we can find any fruits. I hope our camera's gonna work for us because I did find some blueberries over here. And the blueberry flowers are adorable, but no way would we be able to see that on live video. So if your dog breaks some plants, feel free to dissect them and do a little bit of flower anatomy. I find it fascinating. Every plant is unique and it has very specialized reproductive organs for the type of plant it is. So you can kind of see they all have similar parts, but they all look different. So let's go see over here. Let's hope that we can get our blueberries on camera. Fingers crossed. I have ripe blueberries. So these are young blueberries. The old flower is still on top, just like your tomatoes at home. Those old flowers just mean they're part of the reproductive system. And you can see that these are now fertilized and growing. This one is fully mature. And yes, you can eat them. And what fruit is, it's just nutrients for baby plants. There's seeds in there. So when it falls, all those seeds will have the nutrients provided so it can root. So now we have blueberry babies. There's another one too. They're also very tasty, but these wild ones that have not been cultivated, just warning, they're very seedy. And the birds and pollinators help us because the birds will eat the seeds and then they sprinkle them and we get more blueberries. But yeah. There's some good stuff. Oh, what's in this? So you can see that this had the flower on the bottom. I hear things in the woods. I never know what it is. Kind of like an apple. The bottom of an apple is where the flower was, and that's why it has that star shape, so you can see all those little seeds. But the fruit itself, it gives the plant nutrients to continue to grow. And let's see if we can find anything else. Do you think we can make it out a little bit further?
It's gonna be rough.
It's gonna be rough. How about if we walk close to the building? You think?
Still says we're live so far. You almost stepped on a toad.
Oh, lots of toads. We gotta watch our feet around here. Our nature center, we're walking around right now. It'll be open, is it next week?
July 8th.
July 8th. So here's all the low bush blueberry. You can kind of see. It just grows very, very low. I do see a mature blueberry here, which means it's already been in flower. But the flowers look like little white bells. And then maybe we can find our pollinator friends over here. Found flowers over here. We still have, oh, here's a flower. So here's a new flower. It's just a little bell. And it has all its reproductive parts in there. And you can see they have little green spheres, which will turn into our blueberries. And then over here in front of our nature center, of course, this is our favorite pollinator garden. You guys saw this last week. This is our milkweed. Oh, we can see these guys up close, Jim. Let's go see those. We saw these guys. They are harmless. So much going on here, so much food, and really helping out. Let's see how many. Oh, it's gorgeous. No pollinators? Thank you, pollinators. Ooh, there's a bunch over here. Look at all these species. Oh my gosh. Hello, bees. There are so many bumblebees here. Not just bumblebees, you got this little ant soda thing. I don't know. Sort of thing. More bumblebees. Oh, that was a little thing.
There's wasps, there's bees, flies.
All they're doing is looking for food.
There's some moths.
Oh, yeah. Did you find a moth?
Earlier, I didn't see one right now.
Ooh, here's some kind of weird beetle bug, too. Look at that. So these guys will walk from one plant to another, fertilizing each plant. So thank you, pollinators. Thank you for giving us such beautiful things. And without them, we wouldn't have fruit. So you guys might know, soon because of all these pollinators. They've done their job. We'll end up with pods on here, and those will be seed pods that will turn into milkweed for next year, hopefully. So those are the ones that you make a wish on, and these little seed pods blow away. So each of these flowers, hopefully, will become a seed pod. So thanks, guys, because we need milkweed for all of you and all of us. Thanks so much. Oh my gosh, they're so busy in the cactus. Even the carpenter bees like them. Oh, look at this. Look at a skipper. Oh. So much fun, guys. So get outside.
Dragonfly. Or some kind of wasp.
Oh, some kind of wasp. Oh, yeah, it's got the little dangling legs. It came right over here. Another skipper. Let's see. Hi, guys. Hi. Oh, he's on my shirt. Oh, that wasp was really neat looking, though. So feel free to get outside, everybody. I know some people are trying to save money nowadays by canceling cable. I mean, what's better than getting outside and learning about all these things? There's so much to learn. I still have so much to learn. Oh, this is a really neat thing. It's like a ladybug, but it's not. What is that? So there's lots of apps where you can use for animal identification, plant identification. Feel free to get outside and just learn about what's around us. I feel like this has kind of been a good thing for all of us to get back outside, learn some new things besides what people are throwing at us on our TVs and on the internet. But I'm happy to learn about all these different species. And I hope to see you guys come and visit us soon. So if you see myself or Jim or Aaron or Rachel, feel free to say hi, and we're happy to point you in the right direction as far as discovering things here at Cedar Run. But be sure to discover things at home too, and if you have any questions, leave a comment and I'll try to answer as soon as I see them. So thank you so much, and I'll see you next Saturday.